Welcome back to AI War. Thetimix here, and it's time to get our Zenith Remnant game pushing out a little bit. Time to expand. Now, looking out a little bit further into the galaxy map, one thing that I did not mention in the setup video, and I apologize for that, I did off-screen turn, before I started the game, turned off the core shield generators. And the reason that I did that is because it being a maximum size galaxy, 120 planets, I didn't want to be sort of tied down by taking those systems. Probably going to have to take a few more systems than usual. I wanted to be able to choose which ones instead of being forced into taking certain ones. So we're not going to see any of those around. There are a couple systems with things worth noting. Arcturus here has a backup design server. Unfortunately, it holds the plane, which we already have as our starting bonus ship. So there's really no value in that to us. Mimas, a little bit different. Got a couple things here. First up, we have the Zenith Reserve. There it is, Zenith Reserve Mark V. This is another one of those risk-reward things. We get plus 5 AI progress if we destroy this. But if we do, it'll give us a bunch of Mark V Zenith ships. And from the way it's worded, I think they're fleet ships. 20 to 40k energy will be needed to supply them. So we'll need to have that to spare. Obviously, that's not a thing for right away. It seems to me that the best use of this is probably to knock it out right before we want to hit some particularly difficult target, like maybe one of the homeworlds. Knock this out and be able to use those ships as a more powerful attack force. So we'll be looking at that in the future. And then we also have an Astro Train Station, which is this thing right here. There it is, zoomed in a little bit closer. Waypoints for the Astro Trains. We can destroy these to influence train routing, and plus 3 AI progress if it's killed or scrapped. And I have no idea if I'm going to want to hit this or not, because I haven't seen any of the Astro Trains yet. And when they show up, they're going to move in between these stations. Well, destroying this would simply make them route their way around more in other parts of the galaxy. So it could actually be a negative based on which trains we get to see, what their capabilities are, and where they're exactly going to travel. So that could potentially be an issue, but obviously if I'm going to actually have this planet, I probably wouldn't want them to be traveling there. That decision hasn't been made yet. In terms of expanding, I've decided against hitting anti-cheese right away because of our energy situation. I just don't think I have enough energy to properly defend this and then go beachhead right away. And I don't want to put Procne on alert until I'm ready to beachhead it. I think that would be a mistake if I can avoid it. But I do think that I do eventually want to capture all of the adjacent systems here. Just in terms of having security around Laetitia. I definitely want to get those 4 in some order and then reevaluate. Well, I think it'd be best to take the ones that aren't next to Procne. So I want to hit Jupiter and Puck. And I'm going to hit Puck first because we already have frigates there and we can just move the rest of our ships in. It's only got a command station shield guard post that won't be hard to knock out, particularly once we get our bombers in position. And all they've got here are bombers and fighters. So they don't have any ships that we need to particularly worry about. So I think taking this out would be a good first step, and then Jupiter. And then we'll have a bunch of Mark III planets on alert. But that's better than Mark IV. It'll spread out their reinforcements a little bit. We'll get some more energy in. Have to use some for turrets and whatnot. But we still should be able to get a bit of a surplus. And then I want to head on into anti-cheese at that point. The other thing I need to do at the same time is continue constantly scouting. Right now we have 13 out of the 120, so just over 10% of the planets explored. And I want to keep increasing that number. Might get a little difficult after a certain point, particularly if I don't get an early advanced factory like I was able to be fortunate enough to have in the last game. But I want to push out our knowledge as much as possible. There's various things that we're going to need that for. The Zenith miners, any colony or human rebellions that come up, that'll be later. I don't know how soon the Zenith miners start appearing, but also just generally wanting to be able to expand and find out what's out there, start forming some sort of plan as to how to move towards the middle game. So there's going to be a lot of start and stop, I think, with me exploring and then also doing offensive operations. So I want to send these off to Puck. I want to get started on that. Might as well get my colony ship going. And I thought about starting to put some metal into the Zenith power generator, by the way, and I decided against that. Main reason being I don't think I'm still, like, I'm a little bit less than half there on the metal. We're about 2/3 of the way through the knowledge in here, so in order to keep constantly researching, I'm going to want to be expanding for that purpose as well. And we've learned everything we need to about the planets immediately surrounding us, so it's just time. Let's get our scouts back up as the things to be built. So sending those ships into Puck, but here we have something that I discovered on accident. And for this type of game particularly is very useful. The unexplored wormholes, so we can see we've got 1 here, there's 3 here, 2 here, 2 here, and so on. And that'll tell us where we need to be moving in order to do more scouting. Okay, so our fleet is here in Puck now. We're just taking out this command station, which will not, or not command station, but the guard post. Command station shield guard post, there we go. And now we're going to send them off to deal with this. And I'm going to put up with the slow frigate move speed across the system for the moment. The reason I'm doing that is simply we don't have that many ships. They're almost half of our fleet, or third or whatever, is frigates. So we're just going to put up with a little bit of slowdown. It's the way things have turned out. But we're going to get this pretty soon and we'll be able to move on to other things. Meanwhile, the scouting continues. So an interesting little bit happened here. When I explored Yavin, it also revealed wormholes elsewhere. Like, for example, I came from Aspasia to Yavin, and there was, in Proteus here, a Mark IV system I'll get to in a second. There was 1 unexplored wormhole. But as soon as I entered here, you can see it tells me where the Yavin wormhole is. Right there. And then there's also, like, I just entered here through the 1, but it also tells me I've got Procne and Proteus. So that's a nice little thing that's going to shortcut some of the exploration, because it could have just said, you know, there's a wormhole there and not told me where it's going. So we've got this whole corner figured out. And over here in Proteus, among other things, there's a barracks, an ion cannon. There's another distribution node, which I might think about, and another Zenith Reserve, which is a smaller one. This is a Mark I, which I'm probably going to leave alone for certain, but it also does less AI progress. It appears to be like 1 AI progress per mark of the reserve building, so that's interesting, but I don't think getting a bunch more Mark I planets is ever going to be worth it for me. It's still nice to know that that's there, however. So we've kind of got this little corner carved out, and as things continue on in Puck, journeying across the system, we can branch out our scouts a little bit more, so gradually making progress. Alright, so now here we've taken out the command station in Puck, and we're gradually going to build this up. You can see our scouts heading over this way to Doris. So I'm going to pause this here for a bit, but I chose this location so it's like almost a direct line. We can just build our turrets in one direction, don't have to worry about anything else in here. And as soon as we get this built up, of course, we will move on to the next system. Gradually saving up metal, still got plenty of room for storage. And we're nearing the end of our usefulness for the Mark I, Mark II scouts, but we can still go a little bit further. So I want to continue that effort. So here's Puck, which has basic defenses up. I've got 10 of the lightning, 10 of the flak, and 30 of each of the other turrets going. And that took up most of our energy, along with something else. I unlocked the Mark III scouts. I was running out of room for those. So those are done. I've got to move our science lab into this system. But I really want to keep the exploring going. Now to move on from here, I want to take Jupiter next. But the MLRS post in here is good against the space planes and fighters. So I want to take a bit, even though we're a little bit low on energy, I want to take a bit and max out the rest of our bombers. I don't want to build a flagship yet, but I'm going to get the rest of our bombers built, and then move on into there, pausing the building of the scouts here, but we've got our next group ready. So we're just gradually continuing to push out. We've just started the attack in Jupiter, where things should seem pretty routine, and you can see that we've gained, we're still got some of the metal that we gained, but we've already used up quite a bit of it as well, building up the defenses and puck and whatnot. But I have just run into our first Astro Trains in Namaka, so let's take a look at that. It's also where our first data center is, and there's something else that's new. Data center's up there. We'll definitely want to use raid starships to hit that. Really the only way to get to it safely. Got another Astro Train Station, of course, and we have this alarm post. If we destroy the command station here or any adjacent planet, a bunch of the ships here will become threat, basically. They'll desert their posts and go on the attack. So that's not going to be a whole lot of fun. But right now, I don't see any reason to take this out. The train itself is down here. There's actually 4 vehicles in it, if you will, or 4 cars, train cars, however you want to think of them. Now we've got a couple of these, the Widow 1, and they can tractor 100 ships each, and they also paralyze them. So that's pretty super. You can see these have 4 million health and armor of 100, which makes them really difficult to destroy. There's another one like that. Then we've got the armor booster. Or no, that's this is the Tachyon, sorry. That's the armor booster. Tachyon Astro Train just provides Tachyon coverage for the whole planet. And the armor booster provides armor boost for any ships on its planet. Any enemy ships on the planet, not ours. Attacking when this thing is around would mean none of our cloaks would be able to stay cloaked, and then it'd be harder to destroy all the enemy ships. Plus, if we get close to this thing, we're going to get a whole bunch of our ships tractored. Basically best to avoid that particular train at least, and we want to keep an eye on where it is, because if we're attacking anything on its route, we want it to be a good distance away before we try to make any such attack, so it's not helping the AI defend itself. Alright, so we're just over a half hour in, and things are starting to take shape a little bit. We do have control of Jupiter, but we do not have any turrets up. We just finished building the shield. We've got a new science lab that I put up here. We've got an energy collector. So our energy is back in the plus, a lot higher, but we still got to get turrets going. We found a couple interesting things very recently. First of all, in Melpomene, right next door, which could be a problem, this has shown up. If the Devourer Golem is anywhere that you can see it, you get a notice up here in the corner, which gives you a little bit of a hint of how important it is. Let's take a closer look at this thing. Oh my. It's actually fairly cool. In terms of, it's got stuff coming in and out everywhere. It's got spikes on it. It doesn't look friendly, because it's not. Alright, it has an attack of 200k. 45 of those. An energy burst, and it can fire that every 2 seconds, so it has a stupid amount of DPS and will insta-kill most ships. Attacks anything that isn't, any mobile military that's not Mark V, basically. And it's said it's indestructible. Doesn't look like it's actually indestructible, it's just like mostly indestructible. 9 million health and 1,000 armor. So if you're willing to throw enough high damage ships at it, like enough Spire starships or whatever, like Mark V Spire starships, is black hole machines, attack boosts, many other things, paralysis attacks, etc. So I don't know if it's actually technically indestructible or just it's totally not worth the trouble, but believe me, I will not be attacking it. So you've got to escape, and it's probably going to gobble up this scout if I can't get it out of here. But if you look at, it came in over here, and there's no ships around here, which they always have some. There's no ships around this guard post. So it's already gobbled up some. It appears to be on a direct line to Jupiter. And that's a problem. So we may end up having to get our fleet out of there before I finish building the turrets, which I don't like that idea. But I really don't like the idea of losing a bunch of ships to this thing. And of course, one of the things we could use this knowledge in the future, because we could just, wherever it is attacked and taking care of the guards, if we're planning on taking that system, that would be a good time for it. But mostly, we just kind of want to stay away from it. We also found another golem, way up here in Dysnomia. And this is the fearsome in its own way Botnet Golem. Health is 625k, which is only 25%, so I think it ends up at about 2.5 million health. Yep. We capture this when we take the planet, so we're definitely going to want to take Dysnomia. It's just a question of when, not if. Oh, there's a backup server in here too with a microfighter. But this thing reclaims all enemy ships it kills. They come back as zombie bots. We can't control them, but they'll attack enemy ships mercilessly until they die. They'll travel to enemy planets if there are no enemies here. So basically, this thing is just gonna... any enemy ships it goes up against, it's gonna turn them into a wandering horde of zombie bots that will just go and attack the AI anywhere it can find them. Very nice. Ancient and broken, must be repaired to full health before it can become operational. And it's 40 million for the whole thing. We've got to repair 3/4 of it, so we're going to need 30 million metal. Eat gads. It's also going to take, if you look at the bottom, 80k energy to power it. So this is definitely going to be something we're going to be doing later in the game. But it will become a very powerful ally. This is going to be a big target. I've put priority 9 on there. Now we've got some other stuff around. Sibylla here has a data center and another backup design server, another Zenith Reserve deal, but only Mark 1. And we've got an advanced research station here. That's the second one of those that we've found. Got a Mark 5 microfighter, fabricator there. Over here we have something new as well. This is Nemesis, and there is a coprocessor here. And those are sort of like a souped up but different version of a data center. There's 4 of them. You've got to kill them all in close succession, because the first 3 you'll gain 20 AI progress. But when you knock out the 4th one, it'll drop by 120. So you get a net negative 60 AI progress from killing them all. And I don't know if this limits the amount of data centers that are in the galaxy, but based on what I've seen, there do seem to be a little bit less of those than usual. Regardless, this is another later game thing, because we'll obviously need to find the other 3. I only know where one of them is right now. So I just put a 0 by this. This is another distribution node out here. And then we've got another train station out in Deimos. Then over here we've got another Zenith Reserve, Mark II. Again, I don't really care that much about that. Over here in Haumea, we've got a Mark V fabricator for the fighter, and then we've got another distribution node. Then over here in Ariel, there is the munitions booster Mark V, and those increase your attack boost. So that could be very, very nice. I think I'm going to want to either hack this planet or capture it eventually. Not sure which one. We've got distribution nodes that we can take out whenever we need more metal. That I don't think I probably want to do a whole ton of that, but that's available. But at the moment, my main goal is how am I going to handle this situation in Jupiter? I've definitely got to build up turrets, get out of there, and then once I've done that, head off to Anti-Cheese, because I think that's my next target. I'm hoping I'll have enough energy by then to handle taking this system and doing the beachhead on Procne. Then we can take Aspasia, and then I'll know where I want to go next. The Golem did in fact head straight for Jupiter, so I got everybody out. And it looks like the dork is heading for our homeworld of Laetitia. That sucks. Okay, so I need to get all of my ships, move them onto Puck, and hope it doesn't follow us there. And this is nice. It's come in here, and it looks like it's going to head to Anti-Cheese. So I think I want to wait for it to do whatever it's doing there and just follow in right behind it. We've successfully kept all of our ships out of the way, but I'd like to take that system when it's done. And I also found something else with my scouts while this was going on. Over here in Sedna, we have another golem, one of the broken variety. This is a broken artillery golem. Fires very powerful artillery shots over long ranges, slow and fragile. It also says speed of 0, just like the Botnet Golem did, but I think once you capture and repair them, they can probably move around. This one talks about being used for taking out heavily defended targets. I don't really know. It's my first time with this, so I've got to see how it goes. So this thing is very fragile, it says, which is interesting because it actually has 2 million health. 500k now, eventually 2 million. So exactly how fragile can it be? No armor though. I think that's probably what it's talking about. It's just not armored. But still, that's a lot of health. So this thing requires 15k to power once we get it. So Sedna is another system that we're definitely going to want to take. So we've got Sedna, we've got Dysnomia, we've got a couple of early targets. And there's another thing in here, by the way, that I didn't look at. There is a train station in Dysnomia, but also I didn't show this. And this is the core Warhead Interceptor, which apparently these things just, they insta-kill warheads. So we can't use any types of warheads on this planet, which I wasn't really planning on doing anyway. But it's another thing that we will capture when we take the planet, although I've never seen the AI use warheads. Maybe they do, and I just haven't seen it yet. That'd be scary. So lots of different things that I am running into here. Still much to figure out on this Zenith Remnant Expansion. Okay, so the Devourer has moved through Anti-Cheese, taken out a few ships. There weren't very many in there for it to take out, to be honest. And then moved on to Hyperion. And that's away from our territory, so I don't particularly care about it. I'm going to go through here and try to take advantage of this situation. Now, their one post here is an MLRS. And it's good against, it's got missiles, it's good against a lot of light stuff, but I want to send in my bombers and my frigates after it. It does have a force field generator, and also one over the Special Forces post, but I can deal with that at any time. So I want to knock this out as quick as I can, take the system before it has time to reinforce, and then we'll have fun with our neighbors in Procny, who may very well send some reinforcements in here. That could get a little bit dicey, but I'm going to try to do this with the ships that I have. And here comes the attack, but they don't have anything that has a bone. Oh, shoot, they're doggone it. We got too close. I thought we'd be out of range over here. Ugh. Well, that was a mistake. So yeah, they took out all my fighters. But we've taken out their command station and now can get going here as we finish off this guard post. Where do I want to build it? I think right over here. Definitely not going to be taking out Procny. And there we go. We've got Mirror and a Paralyzer coming in, among probably other things. I haven't used any of the Mark II logistics, but I think I'm going to want one here due to the location. And let's get the engineers over in place. Gradually hammering down that force field. But it's taking a bit of time. Oh, those are headed this way. Should have thought about that. See if I can get my space planes over there. And the force field's basically down. We're going to finish up that MLRS post. There we go. We got that one. There we go. Okay. And this is going to wrap up soon. We can take that out at our leisure. And so that's going to pretty much do it for now. Next step is definitely getting that beachhead up on Procny so that they can't reinforce that to a huge amount. They've got, goodness, 115 ships there already. Mostly fighters and microfighters, though. so that's not too bad. But I definitely want to keep this from growing too much. And then head into Aspasia. And then we can look to push our way out. I'm probably not going to want to take on the golems just yet. But there's more scouting that I can do, so still trying to keep a lot of things going. Increase our knowledge of the galaxy. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back soon with more AI Wars. We try to get that beachhead set up in Procne. See you then.